Hi, everyone. Merry stuff. And as promised, this is our Christmas time together, our Christmas journal together. I'm not going to do a New Year's one, but the last time I did, oh, this is a Christmas gift, by the way, which is what it has like tags all over it, poking into it. Other than like that stuff being like uncomfortable, it's really comfortable. I look like the kind of person whose closet would just be filled with flannel. But this is my like first and like new and only flannel, and it's like it has pockets. I approve of this gift. Other than I need to get the tag off. Um, it's really okay. Okay, so the journal is 2 years ago. I wrote about that figgy pudding song, like really the angry lyric in it, like get out of oh, here, give me my. The cats are freaking out. The figgy pudding, like you know the lyric I'm talking about. So this is the spiritual successor to that journal, where I'm talking about another lyric that I object to, and I'll explain why. Uh, um, so Journal 67, Monday, December 25, 2023, Every Mother's Child. Some of you already know the song, and maybe the melody is in your head now. Hi, everyone. For years, people have asked me about my writing. How have I developed my style? What exercises have been valuable? What's the hardest part of the process? The first two questions are really the same, or at least they have the same answer. I practice hard every day of my life for 3,096 consecutive days. July 22, 2006 through January 11, 2015. During that period, I probably skipped a dozen days, an Estavro dozen tops, i.e., 24. At the end of each year, I noticed two things. One, I improved. And two, as my hours per day increased, my daily word count decreased, which explains how number one happened. This isn't an answer that satisfies anyone. Okay, but what advice do you have for me? They reply, which is like an aspiring guitar player asking, is there some scale I can memorize that will instantly make me talented? But that question contradicts the first one. How can I develop my own style? It's important to realize every guitar player is different, and every writer is differenter than that. So I can't say what will work for anyone else, but what helped me was keeping a personal journal and treating correspondence with respect. Let's compare it to smoking. Handwritten letters are the literary equivalent of pipes. It's a whole production. You can't rush it. It's not just words, it's part of an experience. Even the penmanship has personality. One step down from the pipe is email, the cigar of correspondence. Less of an experience, but there's still subtlety. There's still contemplation. There's still care. But if those qualities are sacrificed and people treat emails as cigarettes, they lose all their value. The only thing worse than a rushed, thoughtless email is a text. That's Nicorette gum, an addict anxiously chewing into the keyboard. Texting isn't real human connection. It's just a surrogate, a placebo to manage our fidgety compulsion to interact. For 3,096 consecutive days, I labored over my emails. 30 rounds of revision before I hit send. Sometimes I still do that. See journals 25, 27, and the video for 35. But after I developed my style through pathological email editing, the next step for me was learning to control the size and shape of each sentence, prioritizing the aesthetics of the page. That's the hardest part of writing for me, and my answer to the third question. Let's compare it to lyrics. There's a line in the Christmas song, the Chestnuts one, that I've never liked. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. What the lyric intends to mean is every child is gonna, but that's two syllables short. Every single child would work, but those are pointless syllables. They neither contribute meaning nor poetry. Every mother's child fits the meter and it checks the poetry box, but it changes the meaning. Notice the line isn't every mother's children or every mother's every child. Child is singular. All mothers are included, but each mom only gets one kid. Better songwriters would have revised that line until it satisfied both language and lyrical constraints, even if it delayed the release a year. And good prose observes just as many constraints as good lyrics. Literary halakha may be difficult to understand and impossible to obey, but that doesn't mean the effort should be abandoned. Toil is the reason a perfect sentence is beautiful. If perfect physiques required no sacrifice, bodies would be boring. If anyone could write a perfect song without effort, music wouldn't inspire. And if poetry and prose divorced themselves from the struggle, our pipes would be as emotional as Nicorette. That struggle is what makes it so beautiful when you finally succeed. That's number 67. That's our Christmas special. Obviously, in the end, I'm talking about the tragedy of AI invading the arts. Um, I mean, I'm an extremist, I guess, but like according to probably the majority of people, like if one keystroke is generated by something other than your soul. If a computer is generating one keystroke, that's not art. I'm sorry. It's like absurd to pretend that's artistry. So my heart obviously beats hard in that direction. But I don't want to talk about that on Christmas. On Christmas, I don't want to talk about that. So instead, I want to say explain how I write my books. I have been doing this forever, but a good analogy is downsizing. Let's say at one point in life, you lived in a house that had a bunch of square footage and you accumulated stuff and you spent years there. And then, for whatever reason, circumstances change and you find yourself in a cramped apartment. You have to organize, you have to maybe like donate to Goodwill or whatever. But a lot of it is just organizing your life and belongings so that you fit in that new habitat. So you feel like you belong there. And that's how I write. For the first maybe 30, 40 drafts, kind of rounds of revision, my writing lives in 8.5 by 11-inch household. And it sprawls out, it accumulates stuff. I mean, it really belongs there. And then I take it and I downsize it. I put it into 6 by 9. That's the format for most books I get, but in the format my book is coming in is 6 by 9. And so I downsize it and I put it in that space and I run it through another 30 or 40 rounds of revision. So it feels even more fit to that new environment than it did before. I mean, like I will spend an Estivro half dozen hours on one sentence because it has to end here, right perfectly at the end of the page. It has to end there. It can't drizzle on to the next, barely drizzle on to the next line. And it can't end like prematurely to where the next sentence can affix a little appendage to it has to be perfect. And I'll spend all day on a single sentence. I do this like all the time so that it's the perfect shape and size, but it loses none of its clarity or quality. And the effort I put into that is to me what makes me cherish the process. Everybody knows the cliche about the process. I'll stop there. I'm not going to edit like that today. It's Christmas. Let's all spend it with families. Let's whatever day it is for you. It doesn't have to be Christmas. I hope here's my hope. I hope whether your family is like genetically, very close, or it's just a group of loving people who share community values and stuff like that. I hear the doorbell again. I hope that you spend today among loved ones. Okay, bye, everyone.